Hello and welcome to the Santa Anita Church. I think you probably didn't think we would be meeting this way this long before. But I'm glad you're still with us, and I'm glad you're here for the messages we give, the hope we give, and the inspiration. So many things go on around us every day, and it's really special when we can give to that. You know, we hear, especially as we're getting into, what is this, the fourth month of this? We hear the people saying, oh, it's just a fake. No, well, we know now it is not a fake, no matter what smokescreen anybody tries to put out there. This is a real thing, and it's been a real thing since the beginning. But now, because so many people let the ball drop, many people are suffering, many more than needed to. Wear your mask. Practice social distancing. And stay away from each other. They said a while ago that this would have been over if everybody wore their masks. So for those of you that choose not to wear the mask because this is just a fake, I'm sorry, but we will be glad to hold your memorial service here in the church. I know that's a bitter thing to start the service on, but I do want you to think seriously about your responsibility during this time of the virus, the pandemic, and all the other things that are going on. We have so much happening, and now on top of them, as we're going to talk about in a little while, we're going to talk about heat. Yeah, this is Southern California, and we get the heat here. But for right now, just enjoy. Stay with us. We'll have a message for you in just a minute.
The Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright, who will bear my light to them. Shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? Have I heard you calling in the night? I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of snow and rain, I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them. They turn away. I will break their hearts of stone, give them hearts for love alone. I will speak my word to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom
It is August in Southern California. Therefore, it is hot outside. And while some of us may not like the heat at all, while others of us may love the heat, while the heat is the topic of many a conversation, and while our theme for the month is "The Heat is On," the heat outside is actually not where our focus will be. But just as a nod to hot weather, I have a little story. One August, an Oregon man left his cool, rainy environment of Portland for a Wednesday to Friday business trip to Phoenix, Arizona. His wife was going to join him on Friday evening and stay through the weekend, since they could get such a fantastic deal at a resort hotel. When he arrived, he had just a few minutes before his first meeting began, so he decided to send his wife a quick email to let her know he was safe and sound. But in his haste, he made an error in her email address, and his note went instead to an elderly preacher's wife whose husband had just made his transition the day before. When the grieving widow checked her email, she took one look at this monitor, let out a piercing scream, and fell to the floor in a dead faint. At the sound of her family rushed into the room and saw this note on the screen: "Dearest wife, the trip went well, and I eagerly await your arrival in a few days. Your loving husband. P.S. It sure is hot down here." Okay, no more about the heat outside. Rather, we will focus on turning up the heat on some of the concepts we explored last month. Because last month, we made the conscious choice to answer the divine invitation by getting dressed for dancing. And if you have no idea what that means, I suggest you jump online and purchase a CD and listen to last month's talk, because they will support you in profound ways. During this month, we're going to deepen into some ideas we explored last month under the umbrella of blueprinting, bridging, and building the life that is our answer to the divine invitation, which is living the life of our divinely inspired dreams, right? All right. Today, we blueprint. Next week, we bridge. And on the third Sunday of the month, we will bring in some tools and expertise so that the fourth Sunday, we can actively build the life that is an answer to the divine invitation. And then we will celebrate our finished product, at least finished for now. So that's the lay of the land for the month. Now, to today. Oftentimes, when we are asked to describe what we want, we immediately begin describing what we don't want. For some reason, that seems easier for us. And while contrasting what it is with what it isn't is an important distinction, eventually we must be able to say what the answer to the divine invitation looks like and claim it to be ours. Today, we clarify and claim our blueprint for that life. We talked about blueprinting some last week. And as I said then, it means what it sounds like. Just like an architect discovers what building design wants to come out of him or her, and then creates a blueprint of the building, so must we create a blueprint of our inner God-given urges and desires. If we dive below the surface of that concept, we find that there are really three aspects of blueprinting the life that is our answer to the divine invitation. And we will explore them today. They are discovering, designing, and deserving. First, we discover the dream. Before an architect can draft the blueprint, he or she first has to discover what the vision for the building is. As I said last week, we receive a divine invitation. We awaken to the dream, which is the urge of spirit pressing from within us to be more fully revealed in a more expansive way, one of two ways. Now, who knows what they are? Anybody? Right. Either through our longing or through our discontentment. Longing is the deep, heartfelt desire for a freer, fuller, more expansive expression of life than we are currently having, or discontent. We like to call it divine discontent, an unsettled feeling from within that something isn't complete. These are the two signals indicating that we are not currently living the life that is ours to live, that is meant for us to live. And so we begin to discover the dream by asking, what would answer my longing and dissolve my discontent? What would I have to be, to do, or to have? What would give me life? Now, for those of us who grew up with some traditional Puritan beliefs, questions like that might not sit right, particularly not when they're being asked during a sermon in church, for heaven's sake. What would I love to be, to do, or to have is a question that could be considered blasphemous or hedonistic. If any of you have any feelings such as that at all, breathe deeply through that now. Good. Now you've made some space for the expanded possibility that when you answer that and similar questions, you are actually giving God a greater outlet here on earth. Genevieve Barand was the only student of Judge Thomas Troward who had a huge influence on our New Thought movement. From her studies with him, she wrote, Your Invisible Power. And in it, on page 31, she wrote, as you grow in understanding as to who you are, where you came from, what the purpose of your being is, and how you are to fulfill the purpose for which you are intended, you will become a more and more perfect center through which the creative spirit of life can enjoy itself. I love that last concept. You will become a more and more perfect center through which the creative spirit of life can enjoy itself. And if the creative spirit of life is enjoying itself, so are you. And if you don't fulfill the purpose for which you were intended, or to use our wording of this month, if you don't answer the divine invitation, the opposite will occur. Listen to this story from the beautiful Sufi tradition. A poet went to see his doctor because he was quite ill, emotionally and physically. The poet said, Doctor, I have all kinds of symptoms. I'm unhappy and uncomfortable, and my arms, my legs, even my hair are all feeling as if they're being tortured. The doctor answered, Is it not true that you have not yet given out your latest poetic composition? That is true, said the poet, but I fail to see what that has to do with my illness. Nevertheless, said the physician, be good now to recite it to me. Now. He did so, and at the doctor's orders, he recited it again, and again, and then again. After the third reciting, the doctor said, Stand up. You are now cured. What you had bottled up inside had affected you outside. Now that it is released, you are well again. And the man stood up and found he was healed. Jesus said the same thing in a different way according to the Gospel of Thomas, which is a gospel not contained in the book we know as the Bible, but rather contained in a collection of preserved writings found in Egypt in 1945 called the Nag Hammadi Library. It is made up of 13 ancient leather-bound books containing 55 texts. The books were all hidden together within a large sealed jar in the Egyptian desert for approximately 1,500 years. When they were unearthed, they were in remarkably good condition, and the texts in the Nag Hammadi library date from the first 2 or 3 centuries of the Christian era and primarily represent previously lost or unknown Christian sacred writings often described as Gnostic. Notably included among the texts was an edition of the Gospel of Thomas, which is a compilation of things Jesus said, not things that were said about him. And one of them was, if you bring forth what is within you, it will save you. If you do not bring it forth, it will destroy you. Couldn't be clearer than that, could it? Our blueprinting begins when we deeply listen to the divine invitation to discover what to bring forth, so that Spirit might be expressed here on earth and we might be saved. So what is it for you, my friends? What makes you come alive? It doesn't have to be a huge purpose in life. It is very easy to get stuck here thinking that what is in your heart in this moment isn't big enough. Let me tell you right here and now that whatever comes up for you is the right and perfect thing for you right now. It may not be the end all, be all, but it is yours for now. So go with it. The second thing we're looking at is designing your dream. Once we have discovered what makes us come alive, it is time to begin designing the dream. This is your vision that I mentioned each and every Sunday last month. It is the picture of the life you are living after you have answered the divine invitation. In religious science speak, we call it your mental equivalent. And it's written down in word pictures with feeling and emotion. And oftentimes, we then create vision boards to depict in real pictures our mental equivalent. Do you know what a vision board is? It's when we create with pictures we cut out of magazines, sayings, things that will support our vision, things that make us go zing or wow, yeah, that's it, that's what I want. So we create this board. It can be a magazine, pictures from a magazine, a piece of cardboard with glue and scotch tape. Whatever is that vision for you becomes your vision board. And it gives you pictures, real pictures of your mental equivalent. So, here's a question I've been asked before. Which is more effective? To write your vision down and then forget about it? Or to read it, spend time with it every day? Writing it down and forgetting about it got some good press in the movie The Secret. You may recall the story John Assaraf told of pulling out an old vision board from a box that had been packed away for many years, only to find that the home he'd just bought was an exact replica of the house, the exact house he had on his vision board. I had a similar experience writing down in my vision a specific amount of money I wanted to make in the year from a specific project, and then put that aside and didn't look at it. When I did my taxes for the year, I looked again at the sum, and that amount was precisely what I'd made. Should have written down a higher amount. And then we are taught by wonderful dream-building gurus, including Napoleon Hill, who writes in the Think and Grow Rich book that we should read our vision every morning and every night before we go to bed. But what if reading it every day brings up frustrated feelings of, I don't have this yet? What do you do with that? Well, you can think about it and do more with it. You can do more and more and more. Sometimes I think one of the ones that came out wonderfully before Napoleon Hill was every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. But don't just say it, feel it. Every day in every way, I am getting better and better. Every day in every way, my health is improving. Every day in every way, my heart is relaxing and building strongly. Every day in every way, I eat less sugar. All kinds of ways you can do it. And think of what you're going to do. Write down your vision or put it away. Or read it every day and risk feelings of frustration. The choice is yours, but it works when you use it. Now first, and this is a really important point, either or thinking causes spiritual disalignment. Think about it. In the allness, the fullness, the inclusivity of God, there is no either or. Get into either or thinking and you're shooting yourself in the foot. You put yourself out of alignment with all that is. So this and thinking is in alignment. This and something more. What we want to develop is the consciousness of full acceptance of our vision, however that works for us. But it's very, very helpful in developing that consciousness to read the vision every day. And that expedites manifestation from the unformed to the formed. And when you are reading the vision, see it, feel it, see it exactly as it shows itself to you, and watch what happens. And if we realize that we are feeling bad because that which we desire is not yet here, that is when the real work begins. That is when we get to move into the realization that what is in us is greater than any frustration or disappointment, that our vision is so much bigger than the current condition. That is when we get to consciously and deliberately step up and realize how big our God really is and how ready universal substance is to pour into our experience. To pour into our experience that which brings greater joy, greater love, greater peace, and greater abundance. So often I look at people nowadays and they say, well, I'm so afraid I'm going to get this virus. I am so afraid of this. I am so afraid of that. What are you doing to not get that? Are you taking constructive steps to help yourself not get the virus? Like, for instance, getting plenty of rest? Like not being around with crowds, not going to places where people are congregating who may or may not be unhealthy? Are you making sure that when you go out, you sit away from people? Are you practicing social distancing, staying a minimum of 6 feet away from people? It's wonderful here in the office. If you come in sometime, you'll notice that when we're in the office working, when somebody comes into the office, we step back from them rather than going up to hug them. We put on our face masks and we talk to them from a distance. And I must tell you, our Queen Angel in there, Amalia, always tells people, put on your mask. It works. It has been proven over and over and over again, regardless of what the naysayers, self-servers are saying, that if we wear a mask and if we take care of ourselves, we can diminish the growth of this virus and we can save lives. So that's what we have to do. That is when we get to read and study and have more meaningful conversations with supportive people, all aimed at helping us move out of the place of frustration because I don't yet have this, to the place of I feel like I already do have it. By daily review, we also get to test our design, so to speak, and make sure it fits so that we can revise and refine. Now that's a powerful place to be, and a place that begins to bring our vision into manifestation. The final activity of the blueprinting stage is critical and really rolls over into the other two, bridging and building, the subject of upcoming Sundays. But we'll begin it here this morning. It is deserving. We must believe we deserve the dream. Once again, from Your Invisible Power, Jean-Pierre Barland, on page 27 wrote, "The power that brought us into existence did so for the purpose of expressing its limitless supply through us. There is no power on earth which could cut us off from our source except our own consciousness." And at page 29 she wrote, "Before you can entertain the idea of making a mental picture of your desire as being at all practical, you must have some idea of your being, of your I amness." Now let's switch topics for a moment here. I have a question for you. How many of you have a virus protector on your computer? Today, would you be willing to install a virus protector in your mind so that you can claim your vision as your own? Now, keep in mind, feeling not good enough or undeserving is a virus. Let's install a virus protector right now, shall we? Place your hands over your heart and repeat after me. I deserve to manifest the life of my dreams. I deserve to experience joy, love, peace, and prosperity. I deserve to simply because. On page 28 of Your Invisible Power, Genevieve Moran wrote, "Your personal advance in evolution depends upon your right use of the power of visualizing, and your use of it depends on whether you recognize that you yourself are a particular center through and in which the originating spirit is finding ever new expression for potentialities already existing within itself." And she said, this is evolution. Psychologist Carl Rogers once said, "What I am is good enough if I would only be it openly." Last week, I gave you a spiritual practice to do before your feet hit the floor in the morning. Do you remember what it was? It was identify something for which to be grateful. There's actually a second part to that exercise, and it's going to be our advanced virus protector. Here it is. After you identify something to be grateful for, think of something you did that you are very proud of, that you feel good about, something for which you could give yourself an attaboy or an attagirl. In a recent prosperity class at a church, we had the students write for 20 minutes with the intention of creating a list of 100 accomplishments. Identifying and focusing on those things helps shift the "I'm not good enough" belief and moves us into a greater place of claiming our vision. So, we blueprint by discovering what we would love to be, to do, or to have, by uncovering what would bring us life. We blueprint by designing that life in words and pictures. And finally, We blueprint by realizing that we deserve absolutely, completely, totally deserve this life because of who and what we are. And so we claim it. Before Genevieve Baran studied with Troward, she studied his writings. There was one passage from the Doré lectures that she endeavored with all of her heart to enter into the spirit of his words, as she said. And this morning, I want you to join me in entering into the spirit of these words as well. And we're going to make them our closing prayer. So close your eyes and repeat after me. My mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And this means the production of something beyond what has gone before, something entirely new, not included in the past experience, though proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner with me. Consequently, in my own special world of which I am the center, it will move forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of any that have gone before. Always in advance of any that have gone before. And so it is. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this information this morning as much as I did giving it to you. This is something that can change your life. It has been proven over and over millions of times that when we can change our thinking and change our mental images, our mental equivalents, we can change our lives. People have been healed of illnesses. They've been cured of poverty. They have had marital problems disappear. They have children and others healed. Heal your life. Believe now in what you have and know that as you believe, so it is done unto you. And let yourself also know that this flow, this great cycle of infinite giving that you are entering into also works as you give. I'm going to ask that you give here to the church. Write a check. Well, we'll take cash too, but write to us and give us something to help us grow and to get this message out to you every week, because it is vitally, vitally important and helps us grow beyond all of the negative things we hear on the television, all the negative things in the paper, all the lies everyone is telling us. Let yourself grow. And now say with me, God, you are the source of all my good. With love and gratitude, I give my gift back to you. Again, God, you are the source of all my good. With love and gratitude, I give my gift back to you. And so it is.
Let there be love on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be love on earth, the love that was meant to be. With God as Creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let love begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Let there be love on earth, and let it begin
Well, here we are again. We've come to the end of a sermon. I hope you took some notes today. There was some invaluable information there. If you've been at church here regularly, you've probably heard several times me tell about a friend of mine in ministerial school who did the same thing that they're talking about here. He said, I'm going to buy a house. Now, what do I want that house to look like? And he enumerated the house in his mind. And he knew it was his. He knew that that was what he wanted. He was in a city he had just moved into 2 days before. He drove around a corner, and there was his house. Being a pretty brave young man at the time, I think he probably still is, he walked up to the door and knocked, and a woman answered the door. And he said, hi, this may sound silly, but is this house for sale? She said, well, yeah, but why do you know? Why do you want to know? He said, well, it matches the house I'm looking for. She said, well, it's very interesting because this house was a dance studio. And it wasn't for sale until tomorrow. He went into the house. It was exactly what he was looking for. And the next day, he put the first and only offer on the house and walked away with that beautiful, beautiful two-story wood and brick home in Dallas, Texas. That's what happens when you practice this and do it. Don't get caught up by the people that say it can't be, it's horrible, it's this, it's that. Just know that you have one source. The one source that we call God, we call mind, we call infinite understanding, whatever you choose. It's that one source that is the creator of the universe, and it works through you. And as you let that be yours right now, please close your eyes with me and know that where you are, God is. And whatever you choose to put in the way in your life is going to work in the way in your life. You are spirit first. Thinking, beautiful, loving children of God, helping the children of the world and their children to grow in more and more ways. And we say with them now, the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. And the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Amen.